This is the counter trend buy entry. This is the buy only system. You're only looking to buy anything that's on sale. I call this the chick bot. Okay, we have buy stops trailing right now because we have black. So we buy the black, and we when we get a big black, as soon as we get a big black, we're going to put in limits. Okay, now we're throwing limits out in front of the market. And on the other currency, we're long, so we're going to run the euro against the Swiss. And it's going to look like this. I'm going to do a mirror image like this. Now, if you go in, look, this is a 10 pip grid. Now, this is a counter, this is a buy only strategy. And when you're under when the market is under, say, 10 to 20 pips for a half an hour, you're going to put in a buy stop that's going to get you in just above. So you have a trailing, your robot is dropping, trailing buy stops. Or you're just going to do it. Or you could take a mouse bot and have the mouse bot just keep launching. Now the mouse bot could launch on both orders, right? The mouse bot could go click, drag, drop, click, drag, drop. You could just tell the mouse bot, every hour I want you to execute these scripts, right? Now you can run that. The computer has to be running. I don't know if you can have the computer go into hibernation with that thing running, but I doubt it. Or you could just step up to the plate and just punch the button here. Now the 15 mirror image, kind of a mirror image. It wasn't always a mirror image, and it doesn't look like this good on the monthlies because of the depegging. But just for a daily scalper, most basic scalping technique in the world, right? Buy when the market's quiet under 20 pips and just put buy stops in. So here obviously it's just a matter of as soon as you get your first black, you're going to have a trailing buy stop every 10 pip march down, and so you're waiting 15 minutes to punch the button. But also when you get the first big candle, any indication of volatility like this, it means that you're going to put in really deep orders that are way down there, way below where you can't believe. So the first burst like this, you already have at least 50 pips within 15 minutes. It's very overheated. And here it's like 80 pips in 15 minutes or some crazy, pip per minute rate. And then the market goes quiet. But even here, this is a 10 pip entry, so you had 2 buy stops. And if you wanted to go the extra inch, you could just put in the, you could come in here and just draw your trend line still. I mean, if this is an Elliott wave, if this is 1, this would be 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 4 is going to be the soft spot. This is 4. This is a 4 wave of some type, and this is the end of a giant 4 wave possibly, right? This is the big 4. Right? This is big 4 on the 15, but it could just come up here and fizzle, or it can come down here. But if you have the market, you have orders that are going to last, say, all day down here. Just some psycho grid every 10 pips, right? Just like you can't believe all the way to Memphis, right? And so the strategy is that you have a pending buy grid that's timed, but you're also going to be the trend trader. And the trend trader waits till things calm down, and then they jump on the next train. So even in a defensive trend entry, you'd be having a trailing buy stop, say like this. Every time it's black, you're going to drop a buy stop in case this thing ever reverses. Now, if they're decaying and only the last few moments have been you've only had, mind you, the other currency, you'd have a buy, you would have the opposite signal. So here, every 15 minutes when the market's really flying, you don't want your orders to last too long, because you don't want to get trapped up in these when the market starts to come flying back. And this is why, to a large extent, you do have to kind of be here for this plunge if you want to get out on stop entry, because you're letting the market just die a natural death, right? And then the first black bar after this bar, this guy, I feel bad. This guy's never going to talk to me, but in other words, your reversal is anytime this is 45 minutes of black, you got the buy stops in there, and you're the trend trader, and you only have a 10 pip of risk. Tend to make 20, 30, 40. So you're making, that is your, in other words, you have to do the math on this, I suppose, right? 20 pips of dilly-dally. The buy stops are stacking up. Either you're dropping them or the robot's just stacking up. Like, the faster that drops, the harder he's coming in. And then he's got a scalp built in to make, say, this much. Then he's got this much. Then he's got this much. And maybe he didn't make this whole move, but he made it back to here. So the script has to look like, you have to, like for the sellers, this was their bottom that became a top, and they had a 15-minute window there, or you had the trailing sell stop on this. Here, let's go back to this thing here. I keep losing the damn. My double clicks really just acting up. I guess my mouse has finally had too many clicks per day loaded into it. So, but no, I'm just thinking of, in terms of if it was only a buy order system, and this is what I'm building because I like to see the market go up, I think. And then I have so I just run the other currency, and I'm always in the market, right? This is almost like an always in system to some extent. Of course, the only windows to get in is, 45-minute window or a half-hour window, or maybe a worst-case scenario, it's 2-hour pullback, right? But it's not going to get you into a trade unless the stars are aligned, because if you're going to drop buy stops that trail and decay every 15, half-hour, 1 hour, as this market's coming down, and then you have... when you get below 10 pips like this, you're definitely going to want to put a couple extra in for good luck. When it's plunging like this, though, on these big candles, that's about 50 pips in 15 minutes, you definitely want to be thinking about throwing in just a scatter of orders that are every 20 pips. So a grid that's 20 pip handles with a master stop. This one gets out here, this one gets out here, and this one gets out here. Because as that market's plunging in, when they see this big stuff heat up like this, man, you just got to be putting in whatever, you have to do the math, of course. Let's face it. But how long do these things last? How long is the market going to sit outside of insanity and just be in this terribly unfair, and not to mention this slow sell-off here and then this drift up? I mean, this is a real this is a real harsh sell-off. That's oof. But look at this. It's only like, how long does this take? 2 hours. And the 2-hour chart is going to be one big black, right? So maybe on the half hour, this is going to be the 1 bar. You got a 1 bar entry, but you get the half hour script maybe running for that. But if you don't overtrade it, you can be a trend trader, but you can also be a limit order entry guy. So you're running limits and you got the stops. I don't know if that makes sense, but let's go back to the playback mode here. Let's go back to normal. I haven't blown up this thing by now. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the robots in playback. So what? In other words, obviously the sell stops are running here because you're in a narrow thing, right? And it's trend based. Going last known. This is the 30-minute playback. So in a 30-minute world, you know, you had 1, 2, 3, 4. You had your sell stops stacking up here, and if you're the pending order structure guy, you got the this bottom becomes a top. So while that bottom is becoming a top, you're definitely gonna. Even this is just a classic breakdown. There isn't really any fake out. Not everything's a fake out. So, and that's another thing. Not everything's a fake out. But definitely when a bottom becomes a top like this, right? But we can see this coming. We know the reverse is true on the other currency pair, that we're seeing a big, you know, launching pad to the north. So therefore we can trade both directions. And when the volatility kicks in, like right here, you're definitely putting in the most insane 200 pip deep orders. So if they should take out one of your order banks, which could happen, right? This is like you're playing chess and you just lost like 5 pawns for some reason. I don't know, you know, whatever. It's some kind of bizarre upset that you have the other strategy for backup for that psycho. Just you can't believe it's not butter move, and the market goes. So right now the market could keep on plunging, but we're sitting tight and waiting for the grids to fill. And this is the 30-minute chart, and maybe on the 15, if you get another filter layer, maybe you are putting a couple buy stops in right now, or you're just, I guess I got a 10 pip grid in here at the bottom, so this is just barely making 10 pips off this bounce. So it looks like it's going to keep plunging a little bit maybe, but it's okay. You're going to just step away from it now and let the other super deep buy limits you have now, because as soon as the ATR exploded, you go into pure limit mode and just have the patience that if you don't get filled on those buy limits, in other words, if the market doesn't keep plunging like everybody says it's going to do, then you wait another, say, 3 hours, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to put some buy stops in because maybe it's just, you know, it's the next candle would have to be, or the next this smooth candle mode, you're going to wait for the color to switch. But now that the volatility is calming down, it's safe to put a buy stop in. If this next bar becomes an inside bar or it closes with less volatility than the previous bar, you just naturally put a buy stop in, right? I'm not going to worry about the time of day because it's really like such a harsh sell-off that, you know, maybe it's going to bounce here, but maybe not. Now, if we only commit to whatever the market gives us the other currency pair, we're trading the inversion of it right now. So you have the Swiss stacked on top horizontally of the other currency pair. So that's my setup for the stacking of that. And